Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. I can say Happy New Year once again to those of you who are joining in. I mean, we've been live, of course, yesterday as well. But I don't think there's a statute of limitation to say Happy New Year, Mangalam? Till about the 5th, 6th?
Till about the 5th, till about the first weekend. That's what you do. And, or, you know, how frequently you speak to people. But so long as our graphics team pulls Hello 2026 at the bottom of the screen, we are mandated to say Happy New Year to all our viewers. But, you know, be that as it may, Happy New Year. It doesn't, in the news flow doesn't look like it's the start of a new year, right? Yesterday, you expected it to be a low, calm start to the day. You had this big bazooka come in the form of increased taxes. And then you thought that, okay, it's a Friday, the first Friday, the start of a new year, nothing will happen. Then here's the big, a long impending Devyani and Sapphire merger that's come by. So there's a lot of news that will continue to, keep us busy at the start of the new year.
And look specifically targeted towards you, Mangalam.
Oh, what can I say now? Well.
All right. Okay, well, let's quickly take it from the top then, in terms of what you need to know as we begin a fresh new trading session. US markets were shut. I mean, it's not very much because global markets were all shut, except, of course, India, which is the only large market which was trading yesterday. So no US from last night. Little by way of news flow, one way or the other. There's some bit, like for example, Trump delaying tariffs on, those tariffs on furniture, imports, etc. I think stuff like Italian pasta and more. But I'm not mentioning. I mean, I've mentioned all that, but not in detail. But apart from that, not very much. Asia global markets will begin trading today after, of course, the holiday yesterday. And I think some of them are trading. Kospi, by the way, starts an hour later than usual. So still easing in many of the Asian markets and, of course, shuts on time. It's just basically us and local cues. And as Mangalam said, there's enough and more, which is really part of the mix right now. So you've got the big changes to cigarette taxation and that big slam dunk on ITC, Godfrey Phillips, etc. And, of course, I think what's also happening is that because a lot of analysts, etc., are on this leave period and they slowly start to trickle back into offices, you will start to see a lot of the street move their estimates up and down based on news flow. Always happens. But what doesn't happen is this amount of news flow in the first couple of days of a new year. So we've got a couple of downgrades which we will outline a little later as far as ITC is concerned. The other bit, of course, is insurance commissions. That's the big story that we've been following over the last almost, fortnight, more than a fortnight now. Again, because of the phenomenon that I mentioned earlier, you will start to see, earnings expectations being moved up and down, and the street basically starting to take note of what has happened in this dead zone of the year, which is, of course, the Department of Financial Services Secretary Commons, IRDAI annual report, and the data that we highlighted out of that. And of course, yesterday, the RBI Financial Stability Report, all in a week, unprecedented, kind of putting the spotlight on commissions, insurance commissions, which are going to be in focus. So I think, in terms of local news flow, there is enough and more. There's the auto sales, etc., which we will discuss as we go along. There's a bit about cement. So enough and more to keep us occupied and entertained in that sense. Now, I'll just tie in and close out with the levels here. We are still basically around treading water around the 20-day moving average for both the Nifty and the Nifty Bank. So 25,995 is the 20-day on the Nifty. We're above it. For the Nifty Bank, that level is 59,234. And we are above that as well. So both the 20 and the 40-day have acted as decent supports. The 20-day broke, but the 40-day gave support. And, we got a bit of a lift the day before with that big move. And for both these indices now, we are trading above the short-term 20-day moving average. So that's the broader setup. I think it's more stock-specific rather than taking a bigger call as far as the index is concerned. But Mangalam, how's the positioning on the F&O side looking?
I take that point entirely. It's more stock specific than the index call itself. We had the Nifty, which was marginally in the green yesterday, virtually unchanged. But day one of 2026, while the news flow wouldn't suggest so, the market move definitely suggests so. Because the Nifty high was 26,197, the low was 26,113. That implies just an 84-point range on day one of trade. But the broader markets, they were abuzz. Even though the small cap index was in the red, the Nifty Next 50 was up 0.4%, and we had the mid cap index, which was up around 0.5% as well. The Nifty was dragged lower by ITC. We spoke through the day yesterday, and perhaps will be the stock of the day today as well. It dragged the Nifty single-handedly by about 95 points, the biggest intraday fall that we saw since March 2020. And the stock saw 6,000 crore worth deliveries selling, with downgrades coming in now. So could there be more or not is something that we will be tracking. FIs, they are on the leave because, while the domestic institutional investors bought about 1,500 crores on a net basis, the sale was 3,300 crores by the FIIs. The gross volumes were 60% lower than December average, and December by itself is lower than the annual average. So yes, there were limited flows, and the markets moved on limited flow. So that exactly brings us to the setup. The clear trend will emerge only from the next week as trade volumes return. And until that happens, be that as it may, we're still holding above the 20-day moving average. Prashant alluded to that for both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank. And the FIs are still 91% net short. So if we sustain above these levels and hold, despite the news that comes by and with the flows coming by, then maybe there is case for that short position to unwind itself, or short covering that may come before the budget. Until that happens, the 26,200 call writers very active, 26,150 put writers very active. So put writers are moving their range higher, the support higher, and the call writers are steady at 26,200 to 26,250. So what does this mean? Option writers are positioned for this 26,050 to 26,250 sort of range, 200-point range on the index. Stocks that I'm watching out for: sale on day 2 of the new series enters F&O band. So that's one stock, because steel stocks have been on our radar. And we'll talk about Devyani and Sapphire in detail in just a bit. But could that have an impact on all the QSR stocks today? Jubilant Foodworks, we have Westlife, Restaurant Brands, which is also, there is a deal which is likely out here. So the entire QSR space will be in focus today.
Absolutely. It's an important space to focus on, and stocks, of course, are off quite a bit from their highs. Well,